Hi, I'm Joe Walensky, and I put on the Writers UA conferences, and we've got another one coming up in Denver at the end of this month, March 28th, 29th, and we've been doing them in different regional areas and in cooperation with institutions that have technical communication programs. So we're partnering up on this one with the Department of Journalism and Technical Communication at Metropolitan State University. And I get a chance to talk with our speakers. And so right now I am visiting with Robert Delwood. Hello, Robert. How are you doing today?
Hey, Joe. Pretty well. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, it's good to have you involved. And we've known each other for a while, so it's good to see you again. I'm speaking from Seattle. Where are you talking to us from?
I'm from Chicago. I'm from downtown Chicago right now.
All right, well, that's my hometown. I get there a lot, and we're looking forward to having you involved in the Denver event. Why don't we start with talking a little bit about your background and the nature of your work?
Well, I have been a programmer, a writer, and a programmer writer for a long time. At a college, I was a writer, but I had been a programmer by hobby. And at some point in my career, I switched over to programming. But I never lost the writing aspect of it. In fact, I've always been able to merge the two quite easily. In fact, sometimes in my career, I've even gotten to write about my own programming. But most of the time, I do programming writing for companies and specifically for APIs.
Well, I mean, it's certainly a combination of skills that in many areas is highly in demand, and so it's great to see that you've kind of found your way into that area. For me, I've always been I had a basic understanding of some basic programming languages, enough to make me feel like I can be able to carry on a great conversation, but frankly not enough to be considered a programming writer. I was wondering if you could talk a little bit about some of the skills that you feel have been important to that specialty, and some of the challenges that you've encountered.
Well, I've always believed that tech writers have the blessing of being able to touch so many different subjects, so that it really is in their best interest. The more they know about computers, the better of tech writers they are. Plus, everything you know about computers will eventually play into what you do as a writer. For example, if you know Word, you'll be a good writer. If you know Word macros, you'll be able to write scripts and small applications which will help you in your personal stuff. For instance, real often we'll get long lists of error codes or calls, but they're either formatted from the programmers, or they're in tables, and it'd be really convenient at times to be able to reformat them automatically. And if you have five of these, that's a minor thing. If you have thousands of them, then it becomes more of a task. Plus, if it's routine, if you have to do it every month or every 3 months, then automation really plays into it. So the more you know about computers in general, I think the better of a tech writer you'll be. Now, API writing is a little bit different than tech writing in that we have entered a programmer's world. APIs are meant to be read by programmers. They need to be in their lingo, and they need to be supported as if they're programmers. There has to be code samples. The jargon has to be correct. So this has always been a problem area for this market. Now, originally, the original programmer writers were actually programmers. They got tired of programming and knew enough English. They knew grammar well enough that they could write about it. unfortunately, or rather fortunately, the market has really expanded since 2000, and specifically since 2010. There are way more APIs now than there are API writers. So we really need people in our industry to come in, learn programming, writing. But again, it's a specialty that you're going to have to know a little bit about programming. Now, it doesn't matter how much programming you know. It's on a continuum. If you know a little bit, if you know a little programming, you'll be good. If you know a lot more, you'll be much better. But the fact is, if you know a little, you already have a huge advantage over people who don't know any.
Well, I know this ties into the topic that you're going to present at the conference. So, why don't you tell us a little bit about that?
So my topic is called 7 Things Automation Can't Do for You. And automation is the hot topic right now in API documentation, really as it should be. It's come into its own, and computers are very good at going into code bases, in this case, extracting calls, extracting parameters, putting them into a nice format. You can format them out in HTML, Swagger, Flare, and you get some very capable interfaces. Add JavaScript, and there's almost nothing you can do from the interface. The problem is you're still missing a human aspect to APIs. While computers can get the calls themselves, they can't describe the calls. They can't talk about calls. And remember, a minute ago, I said this is documentation for programmers by programmers. So you're going to have to describe these calls and describe them in programming terms. Computers just can't do that. A lot of people overlook that. A lot of companies overlook that. One of the problems is the CEOs these companies don't really understand it. What they do see is that you have a little bit of automation that can support a lot of programmers, so you don't need a lot of tech writers. And we're back to a very fundamental problem. You have a product that is not described to the audience. So automation doesn't do everything for you. In fact, it's a good starting point, but you can't rely on it beyond just as a starting point.
Well, look forward to that topic. Certainly something that I'm interested in. I think this will be a useful take to have about this area. And I appreciate you taking the time to talk with me for a few minutes today. And we'll see you in just a few weeks in Denver.
Okay, looking forward to it.
Thanks a lot, Robert. Bye-bye.
Thanks.